Hello and welcome everybody to All the Rage Sports. As with me, as always, is Jace Junk, my candid professional expert analyst of all time.
Candid?
I don't know why I said candid, but that's just the way it is.
Roll it.
So we had like a weird week last week. We started late in the week. We actually are on Wednesday, so we're actually on time this week. So it's going to be a really good episode. We're going to be able to go through everything. We're going to break down a lot of last week's games, talk about some surprising things. We got the Panthers to talk about. They're 2-0 right now without McCaffrey. We have the Eagles getting their first win, the Bengals getting their first win, the Vikings getting their first win. The Colts right now are 3-1. So there's a lot of teams we're going to break down. Obviously, we're going to get into a little bit of the COVID testing that has been so very just drastic right now, because now things are just going, like, things are getting bad. One player on this team, one player on that team, one player on this team. And now I don't feel like the NFL is doing the best of jobs in the world. And we're going to get into a lot that way more depth. But just know I don't have kind words to say about the NFL after all this. And I don't know if you do either, but I certainly do not. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to do some previewing of next week. We got some really big games. I was actually texting Jace earlier saying it's insane, some of the spreads right now.
I'm going to pull up.
There's multiple. I think there's like 4 that are over 10 points. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 7 that are over 7 points. It's pretty nuts. There's a lot of heavily favored teams this week. So it's going to be an interesting week, how many of these teams can actually play upset. So it's going to be a great episode. We're going to try to get through all this stuff as fast as we can. Next week, look at Jason's eyes right now. His eyes are blowing up seeing these spreads. That's what I'm saying. It's nuts right now.
The first one I saw, call me biased, you can pull the button on me right now. But they are literally, I'm on Barstool Sportsbook. They are giving the fucking Raiders 13 points.
Yeah.
13.
It's nuts. It is frigging bonkers.
You know it is. I smell it. It's in the air, Jesse. You know what it is. It is parlay season is what it is, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
It is time to go hunting.
Yeah, it's going to be a absolutely crazy week for everybody. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to make some bets this week. But yeah, the spreads right now, does that mean that there's going to be a crazy underdog this week that's going to cover that spread? Who knows? We'll see. But we'll be able to break down those games, all and more coming on All the Rage Sports.
The fucking disrespect. We just lost to the Bills by a touchdown, and we're going to Arrowhead to play, and with like a quarter capacity, they're like, oh, we'll give you fucking a touchdown and 2 field goals. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
It is a tiny bit bonkers how frigging much they are like giving some teams.
That was on Barstool. I just went on because I have entirely too many of these accounts. I just went on DraftKings. They're getting 13 points.
Yep.
Like, is that, call me crazy, is that an automatic bet? Like, do you just take that?
I don't think you cannot take it. Like, it is bonkers, some of those. Like, I looked at it this morning and I was like, I can't believe I haven't got a text message from Jace yet. He must have not looked yet.
I hadn't looked because you said some were like 14 and a half, 11 and a half. The only one I'm seeing they must have adjusted them because the only one I'm seeing.
I was looking on FanDuel though.
Okay, let me look on FanDuel.
FanDuel, there was one that was 13 and a half.
FanDuel's very. I know where I'm putting my money this week. Well, the only really I see they're giving the Bengals 12.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Raiders are still.
The Ravens are getting.
They are giving the Raiders more points than the fucking Bengals against the Ravens.
Yeah. Yep. It's some crazy spreads out there, so everybody's going to have a good betting week, hopefully. But let's get into it. Let's get digging. Obviously, last week we started late, so we were already after the Thursday night game. So we did kind of already talk a little bit about the Broncos and Jets. Obviously, the Broncos came out there and won. Jets are looking dismal. I don't know if you saw the TikTok. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. They put Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel.
I did see that, yeah.
And it says, you can save a jet today. And it just has pictures of like all the players sitting with sad faces on the sideline.
Well, did you see the news that Joe Flacco will be starting this week for the New York Jets? They have got, Bill O'Brien has been fired, and that one has been coming for so long, and we are finally to the point now. There's always one guy. It's like Matt Patricia is almost there.
He's so close.
It's like we are finally to the point where it's like it's almost like the dunk tank. It's like Adam Gase is there, and people just keep nicking the fucking edge.
It's just like there's paint all around the edge of it from people just hitting it, and it's wobbling.
I don't know. The only reason he has avoided unemployment this long is incompetency in the fucking front office of that organization. But yeah, Flacco.
It makes me as a Steeler fan so happy every day that Le'Veon Bell sucks. Because he wanted so much money, and he took less money to go to the Jets. And God, it makes me so happy that he got fucked.
At the risk of being a little offensive, like Le'Veon one of these days is going to go full O.J. Simpson on his fucking agent for screwing him out of that deal.
Oh my God!
He's going to snap. Like
he's got such a he's got such a promising rap career.
That they drafted that rookie, that Connor kid, like he's not that good. Like they're gonna have to bring you back, and then week after week after week after week. Then it was like, well, we'll look forward to free agency next year. And now look, he was literally Le'Veon was a top 2, top 3 league back in the league.
He was. If you had him on your fantasy team, he could possibly score you 50 points. He did score me 50 points multiples of times.
He scored 60 for you against me for you to beat me by 3. I remember that vividly.
Yep.
That
man saved my fantasy team many times.
Dare I say, Le'Veon Bell is more forgotten about currently than Antonio Brown, just because AB is constantly in the news for what he's doing outside of football.
Yep.
Not, charity work.
Le'Veon's just faded off into the distance of that fucking running back room.
Just like Bria showed me something interesting also on TikTok. You know what Jay Ajayi's up to these days?
No.
He is the head, he is the, team captain on like a pro gaming team, like a sports gaming team or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
After he won the remember because he was in the Super Bowl. He wasn't in the Super Bowl, but he went to the playoffs with the Eagles and then got hurt, and then they won without him and Wentz, and then they didn't do anything with him after that. I wondered why nobody had signed him, and he's just raking it in, just playing video games. So good for him.
All right, good for him. Yeah, he was. That's right. He was on the Eagles there for a while, and they thought it was going to be a great, the most amazing thing ever. And it just, I remember. I think I traded you, Jay Ajayi, that year.
As soon as
it came over, you were sending me trade offers.
I jumped all over it. I was like, yes, gimme. Because I was like, this dude's the next big thing. He's the next real deal. And I feel like he was just one of those guys that injuries kind of took him out a little bit. And he was just like, you know what? Like a lot of these guys are just getting to the point where they're like, the more they know about the injuries and the long-term effects, they're like, nope, I can make money doing this.
I played for 3 years. I've made X million dollars. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't say I blame them.
Not at
Well,
all.
let's move on here. We had the Panthers and the Cardinals. Another, like, this Cardinals team early on really made me think that they were going to be a very, very scary team. And I believe they've dropped 2 in a row now.
I believe you're right.
And
Yes, they are
then
2-2.
not only that, looking on the other side of that, other side of the team or that game, the Panthers are now 2-0 since McCaffrey has been injured.
Just because if you needed any more proof, we were living in bizarro world.
Right?
Everything's upside down.
So my assumption is that, the Cardinals are going to right the ship eventually. Kyler Murray is a great player, and every week he gets better. I think that their defense really needs to step up a little more. They're having problems with that. But, I mean, just like,
Isaiah Simmons is underperformed from what I've
yes,
seen.
I think Buda Baker's really been their only highlight type of person, and he hasn't even really been that great.
I unfortunately haven't. I gotta be better about watching more games on Sunday because I only get to watch a couple here and there, and I try to flick back and forth between the channels. But basically, everything I'm hearing is like it's Buda Baker, and everybody else is just missing tackles left and right.
Yeah,
It's pathetic, I guess.
yeah,
I will say though, this Cardinals team has too much. They have too much talent in too many places. I will call it almost teething problems for a very young
yes.
team because you figure they went out. Who did they beat? Let me look real quick. Week 2, they beat the Washington football team. Whatever. And then they beat the 49ers week 1. So, and then they dropped 2 straight to, like you said. Let's look here.
Panthers last week,
and then the Panthers.
yeah.
And while I don't think the Lions are very good, like I said, Matt Patricia should probably be the next guy going.
If Adam Gase isn't.
Yeah. Assuming Adam Gase is already fired. And then the Panthers this week. Panthers are another good, I feel like a young team that just needs a young head coach. They got to sort of pull it together. But I feel like it's almost a case of this Cardinals team playing down to their competition a little bit. Like they're not.
It happens quite often with a talented team, too, where you get in there, you get a little more confidence than you probably should. You don't prepare as well. And then you go in and you get sucker punched by a team that's probably not as good as you.
Well, and after, everybody was riding that hype train with DeAndre Hopkins and Kenyon Drake and, everybody having
Kenyon
those
Drake
high hopes,
has been a disappointment so far this year. So bad.
I hate fantasy football. So
I have him in one of my leagues too. 2 of my leagues.
Other than our league, where it worked out for me this week, I have Mixon and Jacobs. My other leagues, I have Josh Jacobs in 2 of them, and my other running backs are Kenyon Drake, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, and who's my other one? Who's my 4th? Oh, I have Chris Carson.
Well, I mean, you have good guys. They're just, getting injured left and right.
Oh, I was so happy with my running backs, and then it's like, oh, I have cursed everybody. I am the injury bug, apparently.
Well, Carson actually came back and played, which that was good. Yeah. We'll obviously get to that, but yeah.
Thank God. Everybody else is fucking done.
Right. So this Panthers team, 2-0 since McCaffrey's gone down to injury. Is this a good thing, or is this a thing that kind of scares you when the most talented offensive player in a backfield is out and then you go on and win 2 games? Handily.
Doesn't worry me at all, just because I think obviously you have the NFL, was he the MVP last year? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Offensive player of the year.
Yeah, offensive player of the year. Yeah. You have he came off a career year, a breakout year. I feel like
over 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
Yes. You come out with Teddy Two Gloves and Matt Rule coming from Baylor, and you go into this shit. Did he come from Baylor?
I don't remember. Not important.
Whatever. He came from college ball, and I feel like the first 2 games, maybe there was an early reliance on him where maybe
they had to go back to their old ways a little.
Well, I feel like the defenses were just keying on them because it was like, okay, as soon as they struggle, like if they throw it, it's going to be a swing pass to McCaffrey, or they're going to try to run this route with him, or they're going to hand the ball off. Now, without him, they're forced to use other people and distribute the ball more, like Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, these guys that they have. And I feel like it's a good thing if they get them going and Teddy gets comfortable with them, because all that's going to do is, as soon as McCaffrey comes back, he continues to do the things that he does, obviously, at a high
I
rate.
guess that's my big question is, do you think the team focuses on a more balanced approach when he comes back, or do you think they kind of revert back to their old ways and it's the Caffrey show?
Well,
McCaffrey show.
I think you have to give him his touches regardless. But like I said, I feel like the first 2 weeks, as soon as they fell into a little bit of a hole, it was automatically okay. You know, the McCaffrey show, and you have a lot of new pieces, a new quarterback, and they're not really comfortable with each other. So almost in a way, the best thing that could have happened to this offense was take McCaffrey out of the equation, so they're not constantly handing the ball off to him and throwing him the ball 10 times. You know, as constant as much as they try to feed him, so that they
Yeah.
have to, like I said, so Teddy has to get comfortable with these other pieces. But at the same time, once McCaffrey's enough of a talent, once he comes back, all he has to do is basically just stand in the backfield, and he's once again himself. And you have, like, Robbie Anderson is quietly having like a very, very good year with Teddy.
Yeah, he is. And I didn't think I'd expect that from him coming from the Jets. And when you're it was the Jets, I believe, right? He
Yes.
came from, yeah. When you're the highlight receiver on the Jets, that doesn't make me think that you're actually that great.
Yeah.
But he was. And now he's showing that he has a little more to him than just a plain straight line runner deep threat type of guy. So, I mean, I like what they've been able to do with him, how they've been able to utilize him. I'm just I'm just thrilled that, he's actually on a team that's worth a damn, because now you actually see his actual potential. So yeah, he was definitely one player I was happy to see kind of go through this transition into a new team and just come out on the other side a lot better. But anyway, this Panthers team looks great. It's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. They're one of the other 2-2 type of teams that could make a playoff push.
Yeah.
Now, on to the next. We have the Colts and the Bears. Bears came into that 3-0, but they changed over to Foles. I honestly expected when they, were going to go with Foles that things would have been fantastic, but it just didn't seem to come out that way. Offense did not play like they did at the end of that game when Foles came in. After, second half, 3 touchdowns, come from behind victory. Awesome. This game, nothing happened till that final drive. And if the team would have played like they did on that final drive, they would have stomped them. But yeah, I just I don't know what was going on, why,
I
but
mean,
it just
it begs the question: is it really all Mitch Trubisky, or is this team really, as far as like Matt Nagy and the play calling, are they just, I don't know, out of touch? Are
yeah.
they not preparing the proper game plan? I really don't know what. I feel like a lot of it is Nick Foles. I saw the meme. It was shit. It was like Wolverine or something like that. It was like Nick Foles as a starter, and then it showed like when he gets the shit beat out of him, and he's like, like crumpled in the corner, and it's like Nick Foles. It was like Nick Foles off the bench, and he's like kicking the shit out of everybody, and then Nick Foles as a starter, and he's like, dead. I don't. The Bears are such a conundrum to me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it is. It's like they can have one day where their defense dominates, and then they have one day where it seems like their defense is non-existent, and then they'll have a game where their offense is able to score handily, and then they'll have a game like last week where they could not score if they wanted to, like they just couldn't do anything. So it boggles my mind a whole lot. that this team is so up and down and back and forth and wishy-washy, but that's what we're getting right now from them. I hope that they can find it, because I'd like to see Nick Foles command a team. Every year it seems like, Nick Foles, we're going to get Big Dick Nick. We're not going to get, the Nick Foles of yesteryear when he was a crappy backup, or, the Jacksonville Nick Foles. They're going to get the good one. And it hasn't been that way yet. Nobody has seen that version of Nick Foles yet.
No,
it's sad. It's sad.
But I do think the way the Bears break this curse is in a package deal. They send Allen Robinson and Khalil Mack back to the Raiders.
That's genius.
And we give them some dryer lint and a pack of gum.
Already chewed. Pre-chewed.
And I raise you a half a penny, and we have a deal.
Well, the Colts are another team who has actually kind of surprised after a bad week 1 loss, has knocked 3 out. Phillip Rivers looks stronger and stronger each week. You thought maybe like after Marlon Mack went down, are they going to have a run game? But this Jonathan Taylor's come up and really carried the ball for them very well. Himes has been able to come in and be that change of pace player. This offense looks really good. And DeForest Buckner is right now number 2 in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year. Like he's been playing outstanding. That trade changed the dynamic of that defense.
And something else about that Colts offense, Paris Campbell was clicking with Rivers early in the year. He's hurt. And T.Y. and Phillip have really not gotten on the same page yet this year.
When they do, it's going to be scary.
It's coming. It's very, very soon. That breakout is coming.
Going to be similar to Baker and Beckham right now. How they are finally connecting. They're finally clicking. And Beckham has had 2 of his best games of his career over the last 2 weeks. And obviously we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But
if you're a Giants fan, turn it off right now.
Yes. Sorry, guys. But yeah, let's take a look at the next game here. That's, like I said, Colts are another team that's going to be crazy. Bengals getting their first win. I'm going to let you just take off of this one because we were both kind of waiting for this moment. And I'm very happy to finally see Burrows get his win.
Over the worst quarterback in the league, Gardner Minshew. We knew this was coming. I'm just extremely.
It was just a matter of time.
Like he went from high school. I believe he was like a state champion in high school. Then he bounced around from Ohio State, transferred to LSU. Basically went from winning program to winning program. And then, the first 3 games of his pro career, he fights and was in a couple of them. And then he eventually just, comes out on the wrong side of it.
I mean, they could be 2-2 right now if AJ didn't pushed off a little less.
That was such horseshit.
It was a horrible friggin' call.
Yeah. But now, the Bengals, the AFC North is going to be something to be reckoned with in the very near future. You finally, Baker was on the hype train for a little while, but he was looking a little iffy, and now it finally looks like with Stefanski, really looks like things are clicking in Cleveland. You've got Lamar Jackson, and then you possibly AJ Green sticks around with Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and you build a little something there, even with Tyler Boyd. Jesus Christ.
It's starting to be scary. From a Steeler fan, we're on the wrong side of this.
I didn't want to say that just because I didn't want to be a Jay Sully shits on the Steelers, but I was going to say you guys are to the point where you need to find. I know y'all love Ben, but it's to the point you got to find a backup plan, and you got to find it now.
Yeah, it's
like you're like you said, your next one up has to be found very, very soon, or you're going to be left in the dust in that division.
it's bad. It's super, super fucking bad right now.
I mean, it would break my heart to see a, like an Oakland Raider, 2000 stretch of like 2-14 and 3-13 seasons. It would really just.
Oh yeah, I know you'd be so fucking upset about that.
I'd hold your terrible towel for you to cry in.
So I mean, all right, back to what we got. I trailed off topic there.
Yeah, well,
but the Bengals
let's
get their
just start
first.
glossing over some of these games and just go over them.
Yeah, the Bengals get their first wins is very, very exciting for them. I was excited for Burrows to finally get his first win. The next game
You realize it's
is
Burrow, not Burrows.
I know I keep saying Burrows. The next game is a big game I do want to talk about in depth. The Browns and the Cowboys. The Browns put the biggest stomping on a team that I can remember them doing in my 32 years alive.
50 burger in Jerry World.
Yeah. 49 to fucking 50 or 38. This was without Chubb. Beckham ran in a touchdown and caught two others.
One of them from Jarvis Landry.
His bestie threw him a fucking touchdown. Beckham went off, had one of, I believe if you look at all his numbers, this was the best game of his career. You could even put it down to the 2-finger catch being his best single play. This was his best game, period. Baker and him are finally on the same page. This team, this fucking AFC North is going to be scary, man. We talked about the NFC with the Seahawks and the Rams and all those teams. Maybe that division's going to have, all of their teams in the playoffs. The AFC North might be that team in the AFC. It's very, very possible. At least two of them. I don't know about the Bengals. I don't think they're ready for that yet. But at least two of them. So yeah, they dropped this huge bomb on it. And I don't even want to talk about the Browns as much as I want to talk about defending Dak Prescott. Every year we hear it over and over again. Dak can't win games. Dak is horrible. Dak makes poor decisions. Dak is, he throws. He's not clutch. He can't have the fourth quarter comebacks. This man has thrown for 450 yards in 3 straight games. He is the only reason the Dallas Cowboys have anywhere been close to being in those games, because that defense can't stop anybody. Anything.
It's unfortunate.
It's like an angry mom yelling at her son, you can't stop it. That is how bad this defense is.
Hell of an analogy. It's one of those things. I was not a big believer in Dak, and I'm completely sold on him. But you got to feel for the guy. It's to the point where, like you said, he's just absolutely doing everything in his power to try and win these games. Just throwing for the fucking fences, but at the same time, it's like he's just coming up a little bit short, almost like Tony Romo did. Almost like it's maybe not the quarterback of the organization. It's just more just the organization.
The organization, yeah. It just boggles my mind. This entire secondary on the Cowboys was pretty much gone after the season. I think they kept one player off of their starting lineup in the back 7, I think, 1 or 2. Van Der Esch, I believe, is injured right now. And Sean Lee, I believe, is still. I'm not 100% on either of them are back or not because I didn't pay attention that in depth.
Well, honestly, with this team, like fucking going from Jason Garrett at head coach to Mike McCarthy is like going from Ted Bundy to Jeffrey Dahmer as your Uber driver. Like, you're still dead either way.
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to end up chopped up in a freezer.
It drives me insane when I hear, oh, if this is Dak's fault or Dak can't win games.
Well, and to defend them in a little way, the offensive line is banged up right now. They are and that is the heart and soul of that team. When that offensive line is rolling, it is the best in football.
That team is designed on the offense to control the pace of the game, run the ball well, pass when needed, control the time of possession.
Well, I disagree. That's
what they wanted to be, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what they used to be, but then as soon as like the beautiful thing is they've done it correctly where they already had that, the offensive line taken care of, and then with Zeke and Dak already there, like your first three options. Think of any NFL team that wouldn't want Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup. Like, those are three names that if they just on talent basis, they could be all pros or pro bowlers at any given fucking time. Like, that is insanity. But the problem is you have to get you have to have everybody healthy, and you have to have every piece of that offense working together. Otherwise, it's almost like the Jerry curse. It's kind of like, I hate to sound like this, but it's almost like we had to get rid of Al before we started doing some smarter things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. That team will always falter as long as he's at the helm. And I hate saying that, but it's true. They are just not ever going to achieve greatness with him at the helm right now. And I mean, they've made it clear they want to take him away from some of that process because they are like trying to take him out of the drafting, and they're trying to take him out of that GM role and allow people to do their job. It's just that I just can't believe they let all of that talent go on their defense thinking that they were going to be okay. And then they come in and Dak has to fucking stand on his head to try to keep them in games because their defense can't stop the Browns from dropping 49 points on them. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just like absurd to me. But hey, that's what you're going to get when you wasted all your money.
Yeah, they've not put their eggs in the correct basket. Now you're going to reap what you sow, because you got to think a lot of the pieces they let go on defense were to, in part, pay Dak. And I mean, it's not like Dak isn't doing his part, but at the same time, what good is a billion-trillion-dollar quarterback if your defense can't hold a lead and he can't win your fucking game?
Yeah. Now, I think Dak is being immensely selfish with his like need to have all of that money. I think that he may not be worth that much. I think he's worth a lot of money. I think he's a very talented quarterback, and I think that, if you put him on a team that had a defense that was halfway decent, he would lead them to a 10-6, 11-5 season
like
easily.
His defense last year with Byron Jones, or his defense 2 years ago?
Those ones?
Almost like before he started beating on the table that he wanted all this money and all this money and all this money, so that Jerry, in his wisdom, started letting all these key defensive players go. So it's like, hey, you can have your money. Congratulations. If we want to win anything, score 55 points.
Yeah.
You made your bed, lie in it. All right, we got to move on.
All right. Yes. So, what was the next game? But anyway, Browns look ridiculous. Saints ended up beating the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions look horrible. They're absolutely bad. I don't even really want to talk about that game.
I just loved how we don't have to talk about it. I just loved how Matt Patricia, I forget what exactly he said in his post game in his conference, but he was basically like, we're rebuilding on what we had from here and this and that, and I forget who it was on Twitter, was like, Jim Caldwell never had a losing season before you. And you're talking like you had to rebuild something. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, you're pathetic. So yeah, literally we don't even have to go over hot seat corner right here on NFL coaches. We're gonna do this segment right now. We're gonna bust it out. You ready? It goes.
Okay.
Adam Gase is number one.
Numero
right behind him is Matt Patricia at number two, and there is a wide gap at number three, and we don't have to cover another one. Okay, next game.
All right. Then from there, we have the Vikings and the Texans. Obviously, we mentioned that about Bill O'Brien getting fired. Rightfully so. I can't believe it took 4 games. The Vikings do get their first
Head coach
win.
And GM Bill
O'Brien. That just
laughs in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Like, I cannot believe that a man that trades off the best receiver in the league for David Johnson took this long. Like, it just, I'm itchy. Okay, Jace, I'm itchy about it.
I've been sitting here like, you see me, I'm just like,
you're starting to get a migraine.
No, like that feeling when you're behind somebody in traffic and they're just so stupid. And you're like, oh my god, like how fucking dumb can you be? That has been every Texan fan every time Bill O'Brien has done something his entire tenure.
Yep.
He is, as soon as they were like, we're going to make you head coach and GM. This is the greatest idea in the world. I want you to sit here. I want you to name me one good thing he did.
I honestly cannot tell you one singular good thing that man has ever done.
Name me a positive, please.
Did he draft Deshaun Watson?
I'm not sure if he did or not.
I'm not sure if he did either. But if he did, that is the only thing.
Yeah, that was it.
That
was basically his magnum opus, and I'm sure Deshaun Watson hates him for it.
Yeah. Dalvin Cook's finally looking that Vikings team. Ugh. There's so many things. I thought this team was going to be so much better. It's great that they got their first win, but everybody's got their first win against the Texans.
Yeah. I will say, though, as somebody on their fantasy team that I started out this year with Larry Fitzgerald and T.Y. Hilton, only just because A.J. Brown is a Tennessee Titan, obviously he's not playing at the moment. But I am much better off if I pull Justin Jefferson and Robbie Anderson off my bench right now. They are both playing very well.
They are. You're right. It's a lot of big stars really haven't performed as well as they normally would. And a lot of big stars have also had some pretty bad season-ending injuries. So not a good year for fantasy football nonetheless. Well, let's move on from that. Seahawks ended up beating the Dolphins 31-23. Russell Wilson is probably going to be this year's MVP if he continues the way he's playing. He's nuts.
Like I said, Rodgers, Wilson, Allen. And then pretty much you can.
Those are your top 3 right now.
You can play around with everybody else after that. It's not even close.
No. Bucks get their 3rd win over the Chargers. A very close game. Brady had to throw 5 touchdowns, and it was the first time he's done that in 3 years. So he's, starting to fit in this team a lot better. The Bucks could end up being pretty scary. That defense is looking okay. Obviously, they gave up 31 to the Chargers. But if Brady keeps playing like that, he can keep a lot of teams in it. And still not a really dominant performance by Gronk yet.
No, and that defense will come around. They'll play a little bit better. And that's kind of almost a scary thing that the Buccaneers could be an afterthought in the NFC and just slip in because what like as a New England Patriot, what did they love more than anything? To just be overshadowed.
Yep.
Like those years that everybody's like, oh, they're done, and they sneak in as like a 5 seed and fucking rip everybody to shreds.
Yep.
Like that is a very dangerous thing to do with this team, and I feel like I keep referencing it, but with 3 wild card spots, I feel like the Buccaneers either are going to contend, they're going to be up there for that division title, but they're going to be a 1 or 2. If they're not, excuse me, if they don't make it in as the division leader, they'll be the 1 or 2 wild card spot, and I feel like they're getting overlooked. I really
Yeah,
do.
I think so too. I think you're right.
That is a horrible, horrible thing to do to that dickhead Tom Brady.
Yeah, fuck that guy. All right, next one. Ravens and the Washington football team. The Ravens have scored 20 plus points in 27 straight games. I'm going to say it every fucking time we talk about them. I still don't think Lamar Jackson is a great passer. Eventually, maybe he'll become one. The team is built on defense in the run game. Go ahead, hit it. Keep hitting it. Beep, 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 beep. Bias button. I don't care.
I won't disagree with you that he's not a great passer, but as we've said a million times, if he becomes a great passer, you flip the fuck out. So you were just hoping it. You're like, I still don't see it. I still don't see it. I still don't see it.
I've also had my eyes closed the entire time.
Yeah. He's not a good.
He's not a good passer. Yet. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. All right. Next, the Rams beat up on the Giants. Giants quite possibly are going to be the worst team in this league because without Barkley, there's just
now that the Jets and Giants have that great new stadium, they can have it. Hopefully, when COVID's over next spring, at what I'm seeing, hopefully, they can have a giant draft party because they will literally be the 1 and 2 overall pick.
Yeah, it'd be really funny that even though they're trying to get people in the stands, no one still wants to show up to those games.
They're like, oh, COVID's over. Come hang out at our draft party. We're, like drafting 1 and 2, and everybody's still like, no, I'm not interested. It's like,
nah, we're good.
I'm not even scared of COVID. I wouldn't rather be there,
All right. Moving on, the Bills beat up on the Raiders only by a touchdown. First 4-0 start. I mean, beat up. They beat the Raiders. Sorry. First 4-0 start for the team since 2008, 12 years. Josh Allen, like we've said, is bonkers. That defense is slowly coming on for the Bills. They could be a very scary team, and they look like an easy division favorite in that AFC East.
100%.
Yeah. Eagles get their first win, 25-20 over the Niners. Niners had Nick Mullins starting, who's done well in the times that he has start, but he had tunnel vision that game and only threw it to Kittle. Like, that was it. It was only the George Kittle show. I think it was 15 or 16 catches for 183 yards. And like, that was it. That seemed to be the only
15 for 183.
Yeah, 15. So, that's all he threw it to. It seemed Kittle did have a lot of nice catch and runs, but it kind of exposed the Eagles' defense to pass catching tight end could really have a field day with these guys. They didn't come out on top. They have so many injuries. I'm really surprised it took this long for a bad team to beat them. This team with its injuries right now could have a lot of problems this year keeping it together. Kyle Shanahan is good. He'll be able to do a lot with it. He'll be able to muster this team. But this team, I don't want to say reminds me of the Steelers of last year, but with the amount of star players that they have injured, this team's in for a long year.
I mean, I'm looking at the box score, and I obviously didn't pay much attention to this game. C.J. Beathard was fucking playing at some point.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff going on over there. They need help, and their help needs like to be touched by an angel, so all their players get healed. The Packers destroyed the Falcons, 30-16. Tanyan, some tight end I never heard of, caught 3 touchdowns from Rodgers. Rodgers probably didn't even know who he was and kept throwing touchdowns.
Brought to you by this week's guy you've never heard of who you lost to in fantasy.
Yeah, right. So yeah, there was that big one there. They took down 30-16. And then obviously the other Monday night game, the Chiefs and the Patriots. I do want to touch on this game a little bit because there's a lot of dynamics that happen in this game. One, the Patriots got screwed on so many calls. And I don't know if anybody watched that game, but in particularly, I'm talking about the Mahomes interception that never was. Mahomes gets hit from behind, goes to throw it, ball's way out before, no tuck roll, blah, 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 ball's out.
Don't I'm triggered, don't say that.
Sorry, triggered. Bounces off somebody. I forget the defenseman's name, but he catches it before it hits the ground, and they blow the whistle dead. So you're thinking, oh, interception. They should have let him run. What the fuck? Bill Belichick's freaking out. Then they go, oh no, incomplete pass. He was in the grapple of the defender, and the Chiefs run out and punt it like immediately, so they don't have any chances of challenging or anything. Then later on, find out that they said that there was no possibility that the Patriots could challenge that because they issued a sack because he was in the grasp of the defender when the ball came out. So it's as if as soon as that defender touched him, the sack happened and there was nothing further from there. And I'm sorry, if that was the case, there'd be a lot more sacks in this league. That was the most utter bullshit call I've seen this year. And God, was I so happy it happened to the Patriots.
Oh, my God. The Patriots got tuck ruled. Let me just play my violin.
Now, yes, I'm happy it happened to the Patriots. Fuck them. But that still was a humongously blown call. We are seeing, and you said it the best in our chat, you're seeing the NFL protect their golden boy, who is now Patrick Mahomes.
It's Brady is now and not in New England anymore, and it's one of the seeing Brady in a Buccaneers jersey is bizarre, but now you're going to see all of a sudden, oh wait a minute, the Patriots aren't getting calls anymore. What is happening? And it's all of a sudden the league offices are reeling in and being like, oh well, that's a close call. Why don't we just favor towards catch up on his mac and cheese motherfucker? And got it.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, but that's what you're going to see happen is they are the new tuck rule bullshit. They're going to be the team that gets every single anything that's remotely close or outside of the realm of close. If you're playing Mahomes, get ready because it might not be as clear and dry and cut as you think it's going to be. You may get fucked.
Yeah, it's true. So, yeah, Chiefs stay 4-0. Patriots jump to 2-2. Patriots I don't think they're going to win this division, not with the Bills rolling like they are.
No, but
I do think that would have been a different game if Cam Newton was in there.
I don't think the Patriots are really anything to shake a stick at either. I think they're still a very good football team this year. Really
absolutely. So, that being said, let's move on to a segment I like to call Follow the Positive Test. So, last week we have Connect the Dots. Last week we had the Titans players and staff all show up positive. therefore causing the Steelers and the Titans to take a impromptu week 4 bye week, changing their week 7 and week 8 bye weeks into games. Then the Titans close down their facility, go to reopen it, and 2 more people test positive. So they have still had their facility closed down. They found reports of players going out and practicing with each other when they were told to quarantine. They found that they were breaking multiple protocols. Multiple players were breaking protocol, and now more and more people are testing positive. The Titans are probably not going to be able to play this week because they have more people testing positive. That leads me to the next positive test, Cam Newton. Cam Newton tests positive. They put him on COVID, like IR, that they've invented this year. There was reports saying that everybody that was in contact with Cam Newton flew on their own separate plane to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. And everybody that didn't was over there. No worries. They play the game not like they did with the Titans. They didn't postpone that game. We can't do that because Patrick Mahomes is the golden boy. We got to see that game. That's our moneymaker. So now Stephon Gilmore is positive for COVID. And there's pictures of him hugging Patrick Mahomes at the end. Patrick Mahomes is scared to death. He's sleeping in the guest bedroom because he has a pregnant fiance. This is only going to get worse. The NFL is being idiotic, stupid, absolutely boneheaded when it comes to these protocols. The teams themselves are being ridiculous and stupid and allowing these teams or these players to just do whatever they want without repercussions. The only thing that's happened from the NFL so far has been some few fines to a few coaches who let their mask hang down below their chin. It is now going to move from the Titans to the Patriots to the Chiefs to whoever the fuck the Chiefs are playing this week to whoever the fuck the Raiders, who also have had a positive test.
Well, and that's with Mo Hurst testing positive, who the Raiders have played the Patriots, who are now having positive tests. And the Patriots played, I believe it was the Titans the week before. Is that, am I correct in saying? What, like, where?
Yes. The problem is, all of these are starting to connect.
Yeah.
And now every team going in to play one of these teams is at risk. If your team breaks protocol and your team is testing positive, those players have to quarantine for at least 14 days. That's 2 games. If you're going to shut down the facilities like the Titans have, that whole place, every individual person needs to quarantine for 14 days. I'm sorry, but it's looking like the NFL needs to get over this high horse of making their money from their TV ads and or TV spots. Games are going to need to be canceled. Games are going to need to be forfeited. The Steelers and the Titans now have to play 13 games straight. That is if the Titans can even play this week with all their positives. The Chiefs are going to start. You're going to see more positives. Tomorrow, Friday, you're going to see positive tests come. Patrick Mahomes may be one of them. Nobody's tested positive yet, but there's evidence of them being around a person that is tested positive. You're going to see more Patriots testing positive. That's how a virus spreads. It's going to spread like a virus. Ding, ding, ding. So I think we made it through 3 weeks without incident. We started with 1, and now it's blown up to 1 on the Raiders, 2 on the Patriots, 15 on the Tennessee Titans now. Somehow the Vikings came out of it scot-free, so it makes me think that the Tennessee Titans broke protocol after that game and not before. Now we're worried. Now it's going to be, okay, did Stephon Gilmore have it during that game? Which a lot of signs point to yes, because Cam Newton did. So I have a feeling we are not going to be able to make it more than, if we make it to week 6 without teams having to forfeit, week 7, I'm going to be surprised. Because it's starting to get to the point where the NFL needs to set a rule. You break the rule, you don't play the game. I don't care if you don't test positive. If you go out into all these protocols and do this, you don't play the game.
You're right.
What did the
You're
NBA do?
right.
What did the NBA do? They put them in a bubble. This is where you stay for the entire time. Has there been any problems in the NBA? The MLB had one big incident where a team broke protocol. What happened after that? They tightened down their protocols. They hadn't had issues after that. The NFL is being stupid. And they're going to put people at risk. Right now, all those people that opted out are looking like geniuses. Because if I was on that Chiefs team and I have to go in next week, play who the fuck are they even playing? I don't even remember who they're playing now. I'm worried that I'm going to test positive. Because that Buffalo Bills team playing Tennessee, I don't even know if I'd show up to that fucking game.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you have the Raiders that just played the Patriots, and now you have the Patriots who just played the Chiefs, who you have Patriots that are testing positive, and then now you have the Raiders who are supposed to play the Chiefs this week in Arrowhead. Like, you want to talk about a fucking possible, like, super spread event right there? Like, I hate to say it, but if I'm putting my money on anything, I'm willing to bet, like, after this week, you could see the Raiders and Chiefs both all of a sudden just positive test after positive test and absolutely everything go. I hope I'm wrong because, like you said, maybe there are, if you just follow the protocols and teams are being smart, like the Vikings, where they had the couple of spot up tests and then all of a sudden they're all negative. Everybody's testing, negative. Everything's cool. Hopefully, these teams are taking it seriously and acting in the correct manner. It doesn't feel like the Titans have, and it certainly doesn't feel like
it hasn't stopped with them. They can't
yeah,
even open their facility because they keep getting more positive tests.
Yes, and every other team seems to have it somewhat under control. It's very early in this whole situation, and we've obviously learned from the gestation periods and how long it can take, and how you can have false negatives and all these sorts of things with COVID. It really remains to be seen how outstretching or outreaching the impact of this is going to be and the ramifications of this as far as the completion of the season and, like you said, forfeiture of games and teams having to give up draft picks and other things for not following protocols. It's going to unravel very quickly if teams do not rein this in very, very fast.
Because it's not only them. It's not only your players that are at stake now. You're putting everybody in danger at that point.
Well, even like Mo Hurst. Like, Mo Hurst was going to be a first-round draft pick or a second round, and he fell to the 5th to the Raiders because he had a rare heart condition, and he played this year. And one of the things they're saying with COVID is, you could have, long-lasting, heart and lung, scarring and, issues with that. Like, honestly, I'm praying for the kid because with the issues he's already had, I hope he comes out of this healthy and nothing happens. But and the statistics say that if you're a healthy person, obviously he should, but with an underlying condition, you really don't know with this. So
yeah,
that's what's scary is these guys that have taken the risk that have played. Now all of a sudden, you're not taking. It's also like in a way it's selfish because, like I said, we're talking about draft picks and losing wins and this and that. It becomes a certain point where, like you said, with Mahomes, as much as I hate him, he's sleeping in the guest bedroom away from his pregnant fiance now. We're talking about loss of life. We're talking about loss of even quality of life. And it's a very, very selfish thing for these guys to think that. I mean, like, we would obviously be devastated if Goodell comes out tomorrow and goes, season's postponed until further notice or could be canceled. Obviously, we're going to be crushed. But at the same time, do I want Patrick Mahomes' fiance to deliver a healthy child and to have no complications over me be able to finish my fantasy football season and be able to bet on these games, this and that? Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Like, there becomes a certain point where you got to realize it's bigger than the fucking game.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if these guys realize that it is bigger than the game and they take this seriously, guess what? We'll be able to get this entire season over and we'll be able to continue to do this in a safe manner. They just have to take it a little bit more seriously. And like you said, Goodell's at some point, like, there's my big thing is I don't understand why they're being so soft on this. We have seen Goodell in the past with the helmet to helmet hits, and there's been so many constant examples of him going out of his way and maybe setting a harsher punishment than in what is needed to set an example to the rest of the league.
Yep.
When is that going to happen? When is he going to finally, that's been everybody's complaint with him is he's always too hard or he's too harsh and this and that. When is this asshole going to draw his fucking line in the sand and go, enough is enough? You're going to forfeit, your first and second round draft picks. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. We're going to, fine you. We're going to do everything until you guys learn. We're going to do this to one franchise, and the rest of you better fall in line and take it seriously. This guy has prided himself on being a colossal hard ass his entire tenure as NFL commissioner. And the one time that we could use a little bit of iron fistedness and a little bit of him being that hard ass, it seems like he's not interested. It seems like he doesn't even want to be fucking involved.
Yeah, it is nuts that he could change this. Like, he has that ability to change this, to stop a lot of this. You hand out one punishment to one team, you make them forfeit a game, you make them, okay, a fine. They fined a few coaches, and there was a bunch of those coaches that still, like Pete Carroll, I saw him constantly running up the sideline, still with it as a chin strap.
People constantly shit on Gruden, and I will give to his benefit, he's really trying, but you watch him, he gets so pissed off and so worked up. I think he just genuinely forgets because people are like, he's wearing it like a chin strap, but you watch him and he's like screaming at the refs, and then you'll watch him go like this and he just like throws it, and it's covering his face. It really is, but it's like,
yeah, it's kind of,
and he's like so fucking mad and pissed off about the call. And then you look over next time out and he's like, he's got it straightened out. Like, he's actually trying to take it somewhat seriously, but you see like a lot of these, it's like these coordinators and stuff on the sidelines where you see they're like, and you can tell the guys that are wearing earpieces, it's almost like these teams have guys that they're telling them, hey, put your mask on, you're on. They got you on CBS right now.
Yeah, it's like,
pull your, exactly.
I have to wear my mask every day at work. I wash cars. I rent cars. I have that thing on nonstop. I have people walk in the office. Oh, you don't have to wear that in front of me. And I go, yes, I do. I have to wear that. I have a pregnant wife at home. I have to worry about me. You don't care? That's fine and dandy. I'm wearing it. I just don't understand how stupid people can be sometimes. Yeah. And this league right now is getting bad. The fact that players were meeting up when they were supposed to be quarantining to practice, like, God, why has there not been a punishment issued on that? Why?
Like I said, that's what's baffling to me. Goodell has been too iron-fisted and too heavy on his punishments from time to time, and everybody can agree on that. And this is the one time where it's like, hey, you could really be the hero here if you come out and strike this down and go, there's going to be a zero tolerance for this. We're not going to take this. And it seems like they just are very, let's just sit back and let it unfold and see what happens.
Yep.
But I'm
All
tired
right.
of talking about
Yeah,
it.
but enough of the ranting, enough of the moaning and groaning on. But that's our take on COVID. Hopefully, this gets handled in the proper way. The teams can continue playing. Like I said, I have a feeling by Friday we're not going to see that Titans game be played.
Before we move on real quick, I do just want to do real quick. Speaking of fuck COVID, and we're done with this shit. I'm also done with 2020. Rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. God damn it. The soundtrack to my childhood, my favorite band, and obviously, I wouldn't say he's the greatest guitarist of all time, but I would certainly say top 5 as far as how he changed the genre and the things he did. And everybody, can agree what an absolute game-changing talent he was. And Jesus Christ, with COVID and Kobe Bryant and everything that has happened this year, I think I can speak for everybody that holy shit. Let's just get to 2021 and hope that this shit gets better because, like I was just telling you, Neil Peart, we lost, the drummer from Rush.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned to Jason, we were talking, and it's like, I have 2 boys coming into this world in December. And I have so much to teach. Like I just said a simple to my wife. She said, "Don't drop that," or something like that. And I went, "Don't drop the da da da," and joked around and like did a little dance. And I went, "Oh my God, my sons are not going to get that because they will not know what that dumb song was." And I'm like, I have so much responsibility now to teach these boys all of the things that were taught to me by my father and grew up in my time of being on this earth. Me and Jason's first concert together was a Rush concert, and our second concert together was an Iron Maiden concert.
Yeah. Like we were raised correctly, and like I pointed out to Jesse, it really makes me feel terribly old. We're to the point where Zeppelin and Motley Crue and all those things are going to be like, if your grandparents tried to show you like, oh, come listen to this, Jerry Lee Lewis or Chuck Berry,
yeah.
shit from the 50s. It's like, oh, that's so fucking old. Nobody cares about that. And, like I said, truly, truly gutted. Eddie was a great, great part of my childhood, and he's still a great part of my, to who I am to this day. I will always love Van Halen. Rest in peace to the man. Everybody just go listen to Eruption and drink a beer tonight before you go to bed. Just show a little appreciation for one of the greatest of all time.
My favorite was always Hot for Teacher because I'm married to a teacher, so.
Yeah, it works out. Yeah. Mine was Atomic Punk just because my dad always talked about his buddies in high school. And my dad was in high school when that came out, and obviously with my last name, they would listen to that song, and Dad was the Atomic Junk. Yeah. Okay, all right,
so let's move on to our picks for the week. We do have the let's see here. I can just go through up at the top here.
Thursday night game
my little
is
guy.
Bucks and Bears.
Thursday night is Bucks and Bears. I don't know why you would not go with the Bucks on this one. The Bears have not. I mean, I hoped that when they announced Foles was starting that they were going to come out strong.
This is one of those ones where we just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Bucks for me.
Yep.
The LA Rams versus the Washington football team. I don't really see anything else but the Rams in this one.
Another one. Let's just move on. Yeah, Rams.
Buffalo and Tennessee. Going to be a fun game if it actually happens.
I hate to be like this. We have to go back real quick. I would be remiss. I do think Alex Smith is starting this week.
That's real?
Yes, I did see Dwayne Haskins is benched. I don't know if Alex Smith is starting, but I did see Haskins is on the bench.
Wow.
Yeah. So we don't have to talk about it anymore, but yeah.
That'll be
Looks like
amazing if you see him on the field after
honestly,
almost literally losing his leg.
good. Yeah, from sepsis or whatever it was. He
Yeah.
had his lower leg after that break. He's been. What was it? He was like 2018. He got hurt. It's almost been
Yep.
2 full years.
Almost identical to Joe Theismann.
Was it 2017 or 2018?
It may have been 2017.
It may have been 3 years ago. Like it has been a long time. But yeah, uh, props to Alex Smith. Good for him. I hate to see Dwayne Haskins. Jesus Christ! It's almost like you waste your life away on bad teams if you're a good, talented young quarterback. But anyhow,
Yep.
moving on.
Bills and Titans. I don't think this game gets played, but I'm going with the Bills in this one.
I'll go with I'll go with the Bills, but this one has like I would say less than a 10% chance of being played.
Yes.
And even if it does, there's still going to be enough Titans players that are on the COVID list that they're basically it's going to be the Bills and Josh Allen, a MVP candidate versus the Titans practice squad. So
yep, can be the year of the replacements. Battle of PA, Steelers and Philly. I don't know if I have to ask this one, but Steelers are my pick on this one.
Yeah, I'll go with the Steelers, and I feel disrespected because you said call for replacements, and I said where's Shane Falco?
Goddamn Falco. Cardinals and the Jets. Once again, another one. Do we even need to talk about? Cardinals all the way on that one.
We're talking about the spreads this week, and a lot of these games, there's a lot of fucking mortal locks. Like there are some that you can confidently put some money on. Holy hell!
The Las Vegas Raiders in Kansas City. I like how I liked when we talked earlier about, there could be something with this game. The Raiders could come out and sneak one out of there. I believe it. I can't vote for him. Sorry. I'm going with the Chiefs on this one.
I have been confident. I have picked against my team the last 2 weeks, and I've been correct. I have a sneaking suspicion about this game. They are like I was talking about at length at the beginning of the show. We're getting like 13.5 points. And we just lost to the Bills. Like I said, we didn't have a good game. We did not play a good game, but we lost to a top 3 team in the AFC by a touchdown. And the week before that, we lost to the Patriots, who were another good AFC team, by whatever it was, 14 points or whatever. And once again, not playing a splendid, spectacular game. So I feel like we're feeling disrespected. I feel like we're going to put things together. And by God, if you want to make some money this week, go take the Raiders at 13.5 or whatever they have. And they'll probably be they'll be 47 point, underdogs or something like that. So just go throw $15 on them. They'll be plus 470 or something like that. I truly think the Raiders will upset the Chiefs this week.
That'd be awesome.
And you got to think all the good Super Bowl repeating teams and stuff like that. They always have these 1 or 2 games where it's this is a scrappy team, but they should be good to go. And then they come out, and
AKA the Patriots and the Dolphins all those years.
Yeah, exactly. They come out and give them a good smack, and that's what it is. But especially it's an interdivision game, so I'm taking the
Jacksonville and Texans. Texans obviously fired Bill O'Brien. I think that's going to be positive for them, and I think Watson's going to be unleashed. Romeo Crennel's going to let him go. I think it's Texans that will actually come out of this with a win.
Fun experiment when you have your children and you take both your boys. They'll be about 4 or 5 years old, and they understand a little bit about football. Take and set in front of them what Bill O'Brien did to the Texans as he was head coach / GM. And they will they might not even be able to speak or know the words or anything like that. They would turn around and go, fire that motherfucker today. And the Texans should have done it a long time ago. I don't even know who their, interim head coach or
Romeo Crennel.
Romeo Crennel.
Good old Romeo coming out of nowhere.
Oh my God, he's back. I'll take the Texans. Actually, hate to say it, I will take the Jags. I really don't want to.
That so far is our
tougher
only
game.
different game right now. Oh no, we have the Chiefs and the Raiders as well.
Yeah.
Bengals and Baltimore. I think this is gonna be a great game to watch. I think the Ravens will win it, but I think that Burrow is going to put up one hell of a fight because he is Joe Burrow. That's what the fuck he does.
Yeah, I think just because of who he's playing this week, and everybody's kind of like we were talking about earlier. It's like, oh, he hasn't played for a losing team and this and that. I feel like this is his I have something to prove game. And everybody, it's not disputed that the guy has talent and the guy can ball, but it's just a matter of how much does he have in the NFL. And this is going to be his week of, okay, I'm going to come out and we're going to fucking show it. I'm going to take the Ravens, but I will say if they have the Bengals anywhere within a touchdown, I would say that's probably not a bad one to throw a little bit of money at.
Yeah, I thought about that myself because I think the Bengals are going to put up one hell of a fight.
I think I saw, don't quote me on this, but I think I saw a couple places where they had like the Bengals at like plus 9.5, plus 10.5, something like that.
I would take that.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea.
All right.
Burrow's competitiveness will come out this week.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to come out with fire in his soul. Panthers and Atlanta. I think I got to go with the Panthers with this one, and they are just looking too dominant lately. I don't know when they're expecting McCaffrey back. I do not think it's this week, but I think that the Falcons team is just so bad that it's no chance.
The Falcons could be up 96 on the Panthers with 3 minutes left, and I will go into every sports betting app I have, and I will bet on the Panthers. And this podcast will be much better come next Wednesday because I will be rich beyond my life. I don't care.
Somehow the Panthers have got 5 consecutive onside kicks.
Yeah, they have scored every time they have touched the ball. They have scored 108 points unanswered in 45 seconds or some bullshit. Yeah. Because Dan Quinn, another one we got to talk about that's on the hot seat.
He's probably on number 4, I'd say, on the hot seat market, but he is definitely getting hot.
Like I said, Adam Gase, I will say Patricia and Dan Quinn got to be side by side. They got to be right
there. Yeah, I can probably agree with you on that one.
With Dan Quinn almost taking the slight edge on Patricia just because of Quinn's been to
recent.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to. The Falcons really aren't that bad of a team, but you just have no faith in them, and the Panthers are going in the right direction. I'm going to take the Panthers.
Yep. We'll get into the 4:00 games, Miami and San Francisco. That actually could be a good game. I believe that Mullins is still starting. I don't think Garoppolo's back yet.
No.
I kind of want to go with Miami on this one. I feel like their defense is a little bit better than what San Francisco is. I don't know. That one's tough. I'm going to go with the Dolphins just in a flyer.
Ho, 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 Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic.
Yeah. You want to go journeyman quarterbacks, and we're going Nick Mullins against Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on what Fitzpatrick you get. All right, Dallas at the Giants. I think Dallas finally gets another win, but only because they're playing the Giants.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. Just take the Cowboys.
Let's go Cleveland at the Colts. This game is another game I am excited to watch, and I never thought I'd say that about any game involving the Browns. But I don't know what the reports are on Chubb. I don't believe he's going to be playing this week. I think it's all Kareem Hunt basically leading the way. Did they say the severity of his injury at all?
I thought the last I saw Chubb was at least 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So it's going to be the cream hunt game. Obviously, there was plenty of people that did already pick him up in fantasy, so he wasn't a very heavy waiver wire ad unless you had like an 8-team league or something. But he's going to lead the way, and I don't think that offense skips a beat. I have a hard time picking against the Colts, but I also have a hard time picking against the Browns. I got to go with the Browns in this. I just feel like they're going to outscore them.
Yeah, I don't feel like Philip Rivers is quite meshing with everybody, like we said, T.Y. Hilton and everybody on that Colts offense. The Browns, I just feel like they're in a really good place, and they're playing in Cleveland. I feel like you got to go with the Browns here.
Yep. Just Odell Beckham is finally clicking on all cylinders right now. It's fantastic to see. New England at Denver. If New England plays this game, they obviously are not going to have Stephon Gilmore. They may still not have Cam Newton. He still hasn't been removed off that COVID list. But yeah, there is still ifs about that team, if they're going to continue to have more positives or not. Needless to say, I think if New England, even without Cam Newton, even without Stephon Gilmore, that's what Bill Belichick does. Those are the type of things he deals with. I think they'll come out on top.
Yeah, I honestly like the Chiefs Patriots game. Brian Hoyer kept the Patriots in that game to the point where I was going, okay, here it comes. Here comes. The Chiefs are this unstoppable force. They're absolutely game breakers and this and that. And what was the score at half?
6-3.
Yeah,
I think is what it was.
9, 6-3, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like something stupid, and you went, okay. Here comes the Patriots are going to come out. They're going to hold them on defense, and they're just going to score a couple chippy touchdowns here and there. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, here comes the Brian Hoyer show, and it's over. That obviously wasn't the case, but at the same time, the Patriots.
Brian Hoyer looked horrible in that first quarter. He was absolutely bad.
The Patriots came out and they held the Chiefs to, they held them in check for as long as they could with a little bit of better quarterback play. I feel like they could have held them at bay a lot longer. But yeah, I guess you're really is it Jarrett Stidham? Is it Brian Hoyer?
I think they need to go. I think if anything, they have to go with Stidham. He played better in that game. He feels like he was a more command of that offense. I feel like they have to go with him.
The Drew Lockless Broncos, you got to go with the Patriots regardless.
Yeah, I agree. Seahawks and Vikings. I don't even want to talk about that game. That's Seahawks all the way.
Yep, sea chickens.
The sea chickens. Look at all these chickens.
Well, actually, technically, they're like the rodents with. They're the rodents of the sea with wings, if you want to be specific.
All right, and then lastly, Monday night game with a New Orleans Saints and the LA Chargers. That's actually going to be a fun game to watch. Herbert has shown some promise after winning the job thanks to a doctor puncturing Tyrod Taylor's lung.
Yeah.
I think the Saints are going to start rebounding. They've faltered early in this year, mainly because obviously Mike Thomas not being there for a majority of it. But I think this team finally rebounds. You're going to start seeing them get shit together. I think it's the Saints for sure on Monday.
I am inclined to agree with you, but poor Justin Herbert back-to-back weeks. He's going to go against Tom Brady and then Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I feel like once again you'll see probably Herbert does pretty well, has a decent game, but you can't go against the Saints.
No. Sorry. All right, and that's everything there. I will obviously have that posted. Just to give you a little heads up, last week you went 12-3, with your 3 losses being the Niners loss, the Bears, and the Cowboys. I, on the other hand, went 11-4. The Texans being my loss, I did not expect the Vikings to actually win something. The Panthers and Cardinals, the Bears game, and the 49ers as well. So the favorites actually went 10-5. So those were favorites via, I want to say FanDuel is what I did for those favorites. It was either FanDuel or our office football pool, which just pulls Vegas odds on that one.
Yeah.
But that was the favorites. They actually kind of sucked. I am still leading by 2 wins, 45-17 or 45-17-1. You are 43-19-1. So I'm just slightly ahead of you. You gained 1 back on me.
We just need to start betting on our outright picks because holy shit, we're on to start the year. I'm not gonna lie, we're pretty on fire.
Yeah, we are. We really are. Honestly, and I don't know if we've talked about it very much.
That's over. Honestly, we're over 60%.
Yeah, we're doing really, really good. I had a week where I was 14-2, and if the Vikings wouldn't have fucked me, I would have been $1,300 richer. Thanks, Vikings.
You didn't need that money with Twins on the way.
No, not at all. No.
You can thank Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, fucking. Okay. But where was I getting? Fuck! I just completely went off topic because you distracted me with Kirk Cousins' anger.
Oh, it's my fault. Oh yeah, you're.
No, Andy and the favorites, and we actually should have my sister on next week, I believe. We're just kind of keeping track of the other group. They are at 38 wins. Even then, that's still pretty frigging good. So let's hope we have another good week. Let's hope we have less COVID tests coming back positive. And I hope that this NFL season does not get a drastic emergency brake pulled on them. I want to call for Goodell to come out, make a statement, do something about this COVID testing and all the problems we're already having. I want something. I want someone to put their fucking foot down and say, we have to stop this before it gets out of control. Not to get back on that topic, but that's just my final thoughts there. Yeah. Any final thoughts from you, Jace?
We are finally back we got an interesting golf tournament this weekend. The Shriners Hospitals for Children Open and TPC Summerlin. Bryson's back after his U.S. Open win. Kevin Na's back to defend his title after, get this, I believe over 4 rounds last year, he broke the PGA Tour record for most foot of putts made. I believe over 4 rounds he made over 588 foot of putts. So you figure like if this guy walked up to a 45-footer on the green, there was a reasonable chance he was going to fucking roll it in. Yeah. One of those deals. So I know we haven't been talking a lot of golf, and in the fall it does get a little bit boring with obviously everybody's so excited about football, and once this year was a little bit of an anomaly with the U.S. Open happening in the fall, there being one major, and even the PGA Championship happening in late August with COVID and everything happening. But we're finally now back into where a couple of the big guys are going to come out, and you're going to see some things happen. They're going to be a little bit more fun in the fall months, even leading up to this year. Even things maybe being a little bit spicier just because the big guys are coming out and wanting to get ready for. You don't know how happy I get every time I'm watching football on Sundays and they roll out that Masters commercial on CBS, just to remind me that the next 2 majors will both be played at Augusta National. My absolute favorite. Fuck Christmas, fuck Easter, Thanksgiving, everything. I don't give a shit about any of it anymore. My 2 favorite times of the year are opening day of football and Masters weekend. That's all I give a shit about.
Hell yeah.
So we're finally getting
side
back
note
to that.
On golfing, we had a pretty kick-ass scramble run over at my diaper party last Saturday, and I had probably one of the best shots I've ever shot in my entire life on a par 6, dropping it within about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet from over 150 away. I hit it with a 7-iron and dropped it within 2 feet of the hole.
Yeah, it was good.
Eagle to par 6.
Yeah, it was nice, except for the fact that pretty much me by myself, you still lost the scramble by like 6. So
yes, yeah, we did.
I don't know how I hit one of the best shots of my life on 9 in the dark with a pitching wedge from like 120 yards. I hit one and it went so far right where we were at. There's like a pavilion and a bunch of trees, almost like a gathering area to the right of this par 3. And I'm like, I'm gonna hear a window shatter. I just hit it that far. Then all of a sudden you hear that familiar thud on the ground, and it was like, oh, I hit the green, but it was so dark I proceeded to pour 4 putts, so it didn't matter.
Yes.
But yeah, good tournament this weekend to pay attention to, and just hope we don't get any more positive tests.
Yep.
For the fucking COVID, Jesus Christ. I'm just like, wear your masks, stay at home, don't. We've all been doing our parts as fans to make this happen. Like, if I walk into Sheets for 5 seconds, I wear my mask. And it's like,
I'm
you
throwing
assholes
hand sanitizer on the second I get out of that store. My mask is on at all times.
I don't go as far as the hand sanitizer, but it's like,
one in my car.
We've all done our part. You're making millions of dollars. It's like, don't meet with each other, and you're like, hey, let's go throw some balls in the backyard. It's like, no, cut that shit out. Fucking pull it the fuck together.
Don't be a dumbass.
Yeah. Don't be stupid and don't fucking ruin this. Yeah, that's my.
All right. Thank you all for joining us again this week. As always, for me and Jace here, we really appreciate everybody listening. We're going to try to keep having more content come to you. Always look in our Facebook. Give us a like there. I post everything on there. I will actually try to do that tonight so I don't have to wait another night. We actually got on pretty early, so I think I can stay up for another hour and get everything on there.
This whole episode was like about an hour or something.
Yeah, it felt pretty good this episode, so I was pretty happy there. But follow us on YouTube, Twitter. You can watch us or listen to us on our Transistor host page. You can go to our All the Rage Sports at Webley.com, and you can also find us wherever you find your podcast: Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. As for Jace Junk, I am Jesse Baden. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, rage on.